the most important thing, there's two sides to this. Number one is you have to have the support staff, because I am very big on all the things I've done, all the businesses I've run, and people I've trained, and so on and so forth, is you have to focus on the revenue producing chores. The non-revenue producing chores, you have to have the support staff. And people sometimes are control freaks or want to do it all themselves. And I say to them, if you look at your day, keep a notepad next to you, or just focus on your day now from yesterday.
Hi, welcome to Fingerprints on Success. I'm Bill Barrett. I'm your host. And today we had a great interview with Marc Demetriou from Guaranteed Rate. Marc has built one of the most successful mortgage brokerage businesses in the nation. Year in and year out, he's ranked in the top 1% of mortgage brokers in the country. He's been a featured speaker with Tony Robbins and Barbara Corcoran. You know, he's won all sorts of awards and accolades. Very, very interesting guest today. And I especially love the part that you'll hear in the interview where he talks about his grandfather. He actually wrote a book which is called Lessons from My Grandfather, Wisdom for Success in Business and Life. It's a great book. And he really dives into kind of the mindset and mentorship and just kind of positivity that really has kind of made an impact in everything that he does throughout his career, and how he's built his business. And it really ties a lot back to this great mentorship and relationship he had with his grandfather. So I really love that part of the episode, and I hope you enjoy it. So this is the episode with Marc Demetriou, and enjoy. I want to welcome everybody to our episode today. We have Marc Demetriou as a guest today. We're thrilled to have Marc on. Marc, welcome to Fingerprints on Success, and thanks for joining me today. So I'd love to just jump right into the first question. Obviously, a driving force of our program is talking to successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals. So I'd love to start with a question on, when you reflect upon your journey and successfully building your business, share with the audience some of your guiding principles or practices that when you reflect, you think made all the difference for you.
Yeah, listen, and by the way, thanks a lot for having me on today. Always a pleasure to be with you and speak with you. You know that for the years we've known each other, so it's always good stuff. So basically right now, I think what people have to think about when they're running a business, building a business, just trying to be successful in the business world, right? It's really about the service you provide. You need to excel at what you do. The way about what you do as far as response time, availability, and then the last thing is really being an expert at what you do. To separate yourself from the pack and be successful, those three things are important. Just the core of what makes people successful, right? That's just the baseline.
Yeah, and I think like in particular, there has to be things that you do. You're in a business in, origination of mortgage business. And, your top 1% year in and year out throughout the country, built this unbelievably successful business in good times, in bad times, when rates are high, when rates are low. If you were going to think about your magic sauce, what's Marc's magic sauce that somehow in this industry there's tons of people competing, you're always at the top? How do you do that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good intro. So a good statement to make. So basically, I think,
and it's true, by the way, which is the best part.
Right. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. So basically, I always think about the fortune I have as far as, just being able to still make it, like you said, in this really rough industry this year. It really comes down to, I'm going to, again, the likability factor of me as an individual, right? I'm always out marketing, networking, available. My face is out there, whether it's advertising or whether it's networking, whether it's, just educational seminars that I attend or that I host. So just the marketing side of me being always present and around, right, is a big deal. So you got to be out and about. That's the number one, whether it's day, night, morning, weekends, you got to be out and doing your thing to be available, right? People see you out there. The other thing is really, I think, being able to, this is the bottom line, Bill, with what I've done for 18 years is really ability to make almost every single client, if not all of them, unbelievably happy with the process, the service, and ultimately the rates and fees I provide, right? So it comes down to me being a person that's doing the job the right way, and the clients become my sales force. I mean, really, that's really the secret sauce. All of my thousands of clients immediately become my sales force, and the referral sources that get accolades from the clients saying, thank you so much for referring me to Mark, they immediately become my sales force. So like really, that's the secret to success, is that it's the law of numbers for me. I'm not a guy that, really chases realtors for leads. Like, I'm more of a guy dealing with professionals, accountants, attorneys, financial planners, bankers, consumers, that just, if I do the right job, they flourish into a mushroom ballooned opportunity for sales for me.
I love the concept of turning the customer into the sales force, which is a great line. And one of the things I've never told you, and I mention this to young lawyers that are coming up in my firm when they're trying to ask about how do you develop a practice, a following, a brand, and a reputation. And I will point out to them, because I've known you now for over 20 years. Yeah. And I used to say to people, if I go to a charity event, Marc Demetriou is there. If I go to a chamber event, Marc Demetriou is there. If I go to any event, I would run into you and I'd say to myself, does this guy ever sleep? Is he ever not out developing relationships? And I think it's a huge part, as I've watched you throughout my career, and our careers have kind of mirrored each other. I've watched, I've thought about that, and it reminds me of a line that another client of mine once said, which is that the building of a business, the building of a brand, business development, it doesn't happen between 9 and 5. It happens between 5 and 9. And I always loved that comment, because today I think there's a lot of people who, they think, you go to your business, your place of business, and you put in a good day, and you should be successful with that and that alone. And let's face it, there really is no substitute, right, for all those years of effort and relationship building, which I think is key. So let me flip it around on you. Those are the things that have made you very successful and built a huge business in a very competitive environment. What would you tell the listeners about things that you'd have to watch out in terms of like a pitfall or a blind spot where that could stunt your growth? What are the things to not do, in essence?
Well, I that's a good question, because I'm going to tell you the most important thing. There's two sides to this. Number one is you have to have the support staff, because I am very big on all the things I've done, all the businesses I've run, and people I've trained, and so on and so forth. Is you have to focus on the revenue producing chores. The non-revenue producing chores, you have to have the support staff. And people sometimes are control freaks or want to do it all themselves. And I say to them, if you look at your day, keep a notepad next to you, or just focus on your day now from yesterday. Focus today on the day yesterday you had, and make a list of all the things that you probably shouldn't have done. Or throughout the day, it's actually easier as you're doing things. And you automatically create job descriptions for new people. And that's the most important part of what I do, is I really focus on sales and networking and lunch and learns and events and talking to clients and following up referral sources. Like, that's the core of my success. So having a support staff is essential, not being a control freak. Yes, of course, people like myself, or maybe you think we could do it better ourselves. Well, that's foolish, because if you have some people, train them well, and maybe they'll slip and fall 1 out of 10 times, but that's okay. 90% of the time they'll get it right and still do more business. So that's the core of success, big time. The second thing is that the ability to I think the ability to oversee your business, in a sense that looking at what opportunities are out there to bring in business and focusing on them. For example, like for me, a lot of lunch and learns, like getting out to law firms and CPA firms and financial planning firms. And it's not just lunch and learn sometimes about my products, but I volunteer my expertise. And let me train your young up and coming stars in your law firm, in your CPA firm, in your financial planning firm. Let me teach them about networking, how to build business, how to be a rainmaker. Like, I've presented myself to them as a successful guy. I've now used that to my advantage. Say, let me come in and train your young staff. And they love that. And I come in, I train them, give them a little hour seminar. I don't charge for it. And I walk away with, now people see me as an expert, and then know I'm a residential mortgage expert as well. So, I do things smart like that. I volunteer certain places. I'll donate to certain charities. I'll attend certain functions, but I do pick and choose what I attend that I think I'll be able to benefit from, and it'll be rewarding for seeing enough people I need to see. So it is important to look at your time very preciously, because time is the most important thing you have.
You mentioned your people and the team that you've built around you. You mentioned that a little bit. Perfectly apropos of like what's going on in all you hear people talk about in business and the marketplace is the attraction for talent, recruiting talent and then retaining talent. And, I know at my firm, it's something that we have, we've put a lot of time and energy into because, when you start to analyze the cost of replacing employees, especially great employees, it's exponential. So, because you do have a great team, can you share with the listeners a little bit about, how you've found the best people or how you look for the best people and then how you've kept them on your team for long periods of time?
Right, right. Yeah, the team is, again, to be successful in anything we do, you have to grow the team. We're only one person can only do so much, right? So for me, and this comes from the top down, right? It's always leadership down. They see the passion I have for helping people, the passion for being available, the passion for responsiveness, the passion for responding to my text, email, and phone call quickly. This is the passion I exude, giving people the proper expectations, what to expect next. It's all about that, the essence of that being the best service you can provide. Because shame on any of us when a client's calling us saying, hey, what's next? Hey, when's the appraisal being ordered? Hey, what do I expect? Like that doesn't happen. So I think seeing my passion, have one of my weekly meetings, they see my passion, I exude the happiness of what we do, the ability to impact people's lives on the financing side of it, but also make it the most enjoyable process possible in this horrible mortgage world. And who likes to enjoy getting a mortgage, right? So we want to make it as enjoyable as possible, right? Exactly. And it really comes down to being responsive, giving them the answers they need. If you don't have it, get back to them, and just being available, right? So, and only ask for what you need to ask for, not ask for more than once. So for me, it's really just, I built the proper team, and I've replaced here and there when you had to, but really when you have the core team and they buy into me as a leader, like the passion I have, they almost want to they want to make me proud, but they want to make themselves proud. Like they've always said, like, we love working with you because we just love your energy, we love your positivity, and we want to really do the right job. And we see you as a leader doing it, so we want to really follow suit with it and be right there with you. So really, leadership's everything, and you know that from being top level of your position.
So leadership segues beautifully into something I wanted to talk to you about too, which is, in my experience, having represented entrepreneurs and successful business people throughout my whole career, I've always found that at some point along the way in everybody's business, career, profession, whatever it is, there's always been a mentor, sometimes mentors that have had a huge impact on them. When you reflect back on your journey to get to where you are now, can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the mentors or one of the most influential mentors you've had and the impact they made on you?
Yeah, yes, I will tell you that the mentors in anybody's lives are really, really important. And if you don't have mentors, you can read plenty of books and we watch plenty of podcasts like this to learn about what the proper way to do something, right, to be successful. So for me, I start with my mother obviously was a driving force. You could be anything in life you want. You could be the president of the United States. You're so handsome. You're going to be great in life. That driving positivity, right? As a parent or grandparent, you have the ability to positively influence your kids, not be negative, like, oh, you're stupid. Oh, you're not doing a good job. Your grades stink. Like the positivity of hey, listen, I know you can do better. Let's work on that. Like as a parent, it's so important, right? And so I know a lot about this. So my mother's been great in that way. My dad is a very disciplined, ex-military guy, very straight and narrow, doesn't drink, doesn't swear, like just a good forcing guy. I wouldn't say driven on the sales side of life because that's not him, but he's been the grounding force. Like I'm an Eagle Scout. I mean, he got my brother and I very involved in that. Like he's that straight-laced guy, And then my grandfather, who's just the ultimate mentor, and we'll touch on that, like really the main reason of, not main reason, a very big driving force of the success of my life, because my grandfather, when I was just about born, he had just retired at 60. And for the next 37 years, he was not only my best friend, but my mentor, my grandfather. So, his story is just an amazing one of, him leaving his country at 16 because he wanted to be something in life and not be poor and wanted to get ahead and send money back to his family and make a living for himself. So without boring you with his story too much, but, he really was that unbelievable person that just got ahead in life, never gave up, always forged forward. If something in front of you, get around it, get over it, figure it out, work 3 jobs if you have to. Like, just the opportunity you have in life is just up to you. And this is for people that, some people are born into a family that maybe it isn't the best situation for them to get ahead in life. Maybe it's also the environment they're in, the place they live. But it may be harder for them to break through. But I believe everybody has the opportunity to put the right mind in place and just move forward and get ahead. So I'm a big proponent of that. So long-winded, but that's the backdrop.
Well, that's okay to be long-winded on that, because that's a great piece. And by the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least hold up here a copy of your best-selling book, which goes right to the heart about your grandfather, Lessons from My Grandfather, Wisdom for Success in Business and Life, from Marc Demetriou. And, I know it's for sale on Amazon, not to give you a shameless plug, but it's a great book. And I know you came and did a presentation at our firm, and where everybody got a copy of the book, and it was great. What would you say, if you had to sum up a takeaway, or what you hope people would get from when reading this book about your, the lessons from your grandfather? You're clearly your number one mentor. What's the takeaway from the book?
So I have many principles or lessons or wisdom tips throughout the book from him. And if I mention a couple, it'll really sum up him in 3 different, bullets of wisdom. One of them was, attitude is everything, was a very big piece of things he always told me in life. Was about really it's your attitude of people you're around, how you react in life, how you react to things. Like, your attitude drives everything. And really, from now being older in life, I see that, you want to be around people with a positive attitude. You want to be around people that are upbeat. You want to be around people that are half full, not half empty. Like that, it's a big part of success. And he had that from a young person. He always was positive. Even when he had nothing, he was on food lines. Like, he was a positive, happy guy. Like, he knew whatever he was doing was a stepping stone for the next opportunity, and so on and so forth. So just attitude is everything. I'll leave that one there by itself, because you can go on that for hours. One was, this is to show him as a person now, as a human being. One was, be awake and alive to the suffering of others. He was very big on helping other people, very big of listening to people's problems, very big on being there for people, whether it's giving them money here and there, or helping them find housing, or helping them find a job. Like, just a really good person that was aware of people around him. So it wasn't always about him, big piece of that.
Empathy, right? Empathy, which is sometimes in short supply these days, but one of the most powerful emotions, for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you one of the many reasons he got ahead in life, because there's many of them, it was because he was so good as a person to help other people. And he helped a lot of people, that people helped him so many times with getting a new job. Hey, Charlie, you're a good guy. You work hard. Hey, there's another job opportunity here. Hey, Charlie, there's another job opportunity here. Like, he just kept moving up in life because of people around him. And one of the other things just really for him was just, go the extra mile. Everything was him, go the extra mile. Don't give up, don't give up at the goal line. If people do this, then do this. If people are coming in at this time, come in earlier. People are staying this time, stay late. Like, just put the effort in. Like, whatever you're doing in life, like, this is for people listening to in sports. If you're in sports and you're not the starter, well, talk to the coach. Coach, what do I need to do to be a starter? You need to get faster, get a little stronger, and work to practice on that skill. Well, damn it, guess what? Do that all year long. Next year, come back and show the coach you can get it done. So everything in life is about putting the effort in. You got people like the greats like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. They talk about that all the time, how much they practice and came in early. So I can go on a tangent, but that was really a very big part of his core of these topics.
All right. So you've been blessed to have great mentors, and your grandfather was a great mentor. So then the obvious question I have to ask you is, okay, you reach this point in life, you're very successful, you love what you do. What does Marc Demetriou today, what do you do today to pay it forward? And in terms of, how do you try to be a mentor to others? How are you trying to shape and create the next Marc?
Yeah, well, in my career, or just in life in general, one of the good things about me is I'm very willing and able and capable, and I have been doing it now for many, many years, of helping people all around me, whether it's young professionals, that I meet with for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or at a networking event, or someone just, gets in touch with me about, hey, you're doing things successfully. How do you, can you help me or give me some guidance? So I happen to get called on a lot for that. And whether it's just, connecting with a nice job, giving us some insight, 10 minutes of insight can really change someone's life. So I definitely help a lot of people with just whether it's business or life. I'm very blessed with some great knowledge on just things in general. So I've done that a lot in my life since I've been in high school, actually, which is pretty crazy. So I've always given some good advice. And I think for me, just really just, being available, like even like I said, the networking part, I help a lot of people with just connecting with the right people. I'm very blessed with having a tremendous network. And I use that network in a good way to help people around me. It's not self-serving, but I also help people as many times as I can about networking them and creating opportunities for each other to do business. So there's two facets to that. One is try to help people that reach out to me for guidance or assistance. I never say no. Or people looking for jobs or people looking for connections. So I create my own little sphere of goodness by doing a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we call, an abundant attitude, abundance versus scarcity, right? I think, I see it in my business all the time. People feel like, well, if I were to help you, somehow I'm not helping myself, right? And which is a terrible attitude and an attitude of scarcity shared by a lot of people, versus abundance, which is, the attitude that I've always had, and I know that you share it, which is there's tons of opportunity, there's tons of business, there's tons of clients, and being able to help others, you create what Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach, will call a competition-free zone, the free zone frontier, which is you reach a certain level in your profession, your career, your business as an entrepreneur, where you don't have any competitors. You don't view the world as a place of competitors. You're the person setting the market. You're the person innovating, and happy to teach others to raise the entire industry, to raise the whole bar, whether it's in finance or it's in law or building, manufacturing, real estate, whatever it is. If you're out setting the bar higher and higher, you're taking the whole profession up with you. And I think that's, abundant attitudes versus scarcity is something that, it's kind of woven. This attitude of abundance is kind of woven in all the things that you've done. So let me ask you this, Marc. And I love asking this question to, most of the clients I have at this stage in my career, they've reached, success, financial independence. It's not about the money anymore at this point. There's plenty of money. So, when you think about the why, right? So you work hard, you still do all the things you've always done. You love what you do. I know you answer your phone on Saturday and Sunday and holidays and daytime and nighttime because I've called it. So, what's the why? What drives you to keep doing what you do? And it's not just making dollars anymore because you're okay in that world. And I think, like, for most successful business owners, they get to a point in their career where they dig in a little bit and say, what makes me keep doing this and keep doing it at this level of intensity? So what's your why?
Right. Well, that's a good point. And I will say, before I get into the why, I will say that, and I've preached this and I've lived this, I've never worried about making money because I've always done the right thing and worked hard and been an expert at what I do, and the money's always come. I know it sounds weird to people because, like, everyone wants to make money, but I've always excelled at what I'm doing. It's not about excelling so obnoxious. I've excelled because I've made a point to excel. Whether come in early or stay late or learn my craft, like, I've always excelled, and the money just comes. Like, that's the way it works, right? So even in this industry, for example, and what I'm doing now, like, I love the financing. I've always been in financial services for 30 years. I've always been in client interaction, client service type business, right? So I know the service I deliver is exceptional. I know the empathy and caring that I have for each individual is exceptional. And I know that I always deliver a great end product with exceptional service, whatever I've done in life, whether it's on my own or with a team. So for me, it's really the glory of having that call come in, whether they're looking to buy a house or refinance, second home or investment property, whatever it may be, and just be able to guide them accordingly. And when they call me and say, I know nothing about what I'm doing, it's my first time doing it, and I tell them, in 24 hours, you're going to be very comfortable, if not less than that. So let's get some information first. I'm going to go over this all with you. So it's really it's like a puzzle for me. Like, each opportunity is like a puzzle, figuring it out, making people feel at ease, getting them a great program rate or, closing cost package, and just taking them through the process. And I love making the call when I say, hey, your loan's approved. And at the end, asking them, how did the loan process go? How was my team? How did you like the experience? And hearing those wonderful accolades. So it's like a high. So I'm making a good living. I'm helping people with one of the largest financial transactions of their lives. And they can walk away saying, even though it was a mortgage, which should be a pain in the neck, it was the best thing I've ever done with any bank in my life. So there's excitement to it. So it's like all comes down to that. Obviously, I make a good living. The good years are great. The not so great years like this one are okay. But yeah, so it's a fun business. I enjoy it. And listen to me, and you'll understand this. I wish everyone in the country knew about me and they just come to me. Like, why walk into a bank if Marc Demetriou exists, right? But that's the silver bullet. There is none. It just takes time to build your following, right? Just like you're probably the best lawyer in the country in your mind, and you probably are. But not everyone knows you, right?
There's a couple other good ones, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. So in my mind, I feel I'm the best at what I do. I don't think I'm, there's nobody at my level, but I think I'm great at what I do. If people knew I existed, they wouldn't have to go anywhere else. So it's that fun. It's the fun part of that too,
Yeah, no, I get it, because what I hear you say there is you like being a hero for people.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what you're saying is, right. There's the joy you get from how people appreciate you, and that supersedes the dollars at a certain point, because the dollars are great, but if you lose being a hero to someone, it would probably be very unfulfilling for you.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah. So it really comes down to doing the right job. And at the end, knowing that they came to me, knowing that I'm ethical in what I do, I'm going to get them the best rate and fees available, walk through the whole process, not change anything during the process. Like, they're in good hands. Like, I know they are, and they don't know it to the end, or maybe they know in the beginning, but just to know that I got you, you're in good hands. I don't tell them this because it comes off too salesy, but I know I got them and they're good. And through the end, I'm going to make that call. They're like, Marc, thank you so much. Our rate and fees are great. The service was awesome. We love it. Thank you. Thank you. Like, that's just, to me, is like, yeah, that's the the juice there as far as why I do it. And the money comes, like I said, it's just that I don't even worry about that part.
Yeah. So let's go into kind of, my experience is that the most successful entrepreneurs that have longevity and success always have an attitude of looking ahead, right? That the next best thing, the next best client, the next best case, the next best opportunity lies ahead, never in the rearview mirror. And my favorite example I love to give is my mentor in the law, Barry Mandelbaum, which is the Mandelbaum and Mandelbaum Barrett. He's still actively practicing, incredibly vibrant, on top of his game, 86 years old. And, and people will always, of course, always ask, and, he's been blessed with great health and a sharp mind. And people always say, like, oh, what's the secret and so forth. But at the end of the day, when I observe, and I think that he always continues to grow and thrive because he always has an attitude, a mindset that the next greatest thing is yet to come. It's in the front view, not in the rear view. And, Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach, has a little book that he wrote called My Plan to Live to 156, I think is the title. Now, does he really think he's going to live to 156? I don't think so, but who knows? But the point of the book is that you are always thinking that the next greatest thing lies ahead. So for you, when you wake up, what's got you excited right now? What are you pumped up about, excited about as an entrepreneur? What's got you pumped up as you look forward to the rest of this year and into next year?
Yeah, it's a good point, because I'm always and I'm unbelievably driven, and people are always like, how are you so, like, you're always just so driving and driving like it, and it really comes down to in my industry, a couple of things. There's endless opportunities in this business, endless opportunities. There's so many people that don't know I exist. There's millions of people that don't know I exist, even in New Jersey, right? Believe it or not. So for me, it's always about, how many, like, what other opportunities can I be presented with? What other big volume opportunities there are, or lunch and learns, or speaking engagements, or getting in front of 500 CPAs? Like, what else can I do? Like, there's so much opportunity still for what I do. And so many people don't know I exist, right? So there's that driving, like, endless opportunity. There's so much more that can be done. There's so many more opportunities that could present themselves to me by just doing what I do. And that's one thing. And I will tell you also, one piece to this, and you'll relate to this too, is by doing a great job for a customer and referral source. Every customer you have is good for 5 referrals in their lifetime in my business, whether they come back to me again or refer somebody to me. So just knowing that alone, when people are chasing new opportunities, because I do chase opportunities, but when you do a great job for the existing client, again, you're building your sales force, you're building your sales funnel, right? So I just want to backtrack to that for a second. So there's a lot of opportunities I'm still working on that are still going to bear a lot of fruit, which is great and help a lot more people. And on my book side, I will tell you that I'm inching closer and closer. And you only mentioned the book for a moment, but the book's, I can say humbly, it's an amazing book. I wrote it to really give my mentor back to the world, give the mentor I had that I was advantaged to have, and give them that opportunity to have someone like him to read that 176-page book and say, wow, I get it. I see why Mark's successful and all the accolades he got and learned from his grandfather. But I have, since the day I wrote this, 2018, I knew that Oprah would relate to this book because it's really all what she stands for, starting from nothing, getting ahead, moving through obstacles, no matter what. Like, she's just phenomenal as a person. So I'm inching closer and closer to getting the book in her hands, and I won't bore the listeners or yourself how, but getting closer. And I know that she will, again, I'm nothing, I'm a little peon in her world, but I know that she will really love this book and relate to it. So to memorialize my grandfather out there in the world and bring this, this message in the book out to the masses through her would be just a, life-changing endeavor. So that's kind of the high-level goal that I've been striving for since 2018.
Well, it's probably done now because she's going to listen, of course, to Fingerprints on Success and know that you're out there trying to get this done. And, I think that there's at least a reasonably good chance it's going to happen now, Mark. So, it's actually a very good thing that you came on this episode today and got that message out. So listen, I think that is a perfect and great note for us to maybe wrap up today. And what a great thing to look forward to. And I hope you keep us posted on how that goes. It is a great book. I do highly recommend it. As I said, I got it right here. Lessons from my grandfather, wisdom for success in business and in life. Mark, thanks again for being on the episode. We really appreciate you coming on, and it's always a pleasure to see you, and just, keep being great at what you do.
No, I really appreciate it. Again, this has been wonderful. I've known, like I said, we've known each other for 20 years or so and watched our careers and our paths align and move forward in life. And obviously super impressed with what you've done. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity. And yeah, the book, by the way, I just had a 2023 edition that came out. So if the viewers do go on Amazon and check it out, it's on Audible, ebook, softcover, hardcover, but 2023, just make sure you grab the new one.
Thanks, Mark. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.